Hey guys, it's David. Welcome to the Scar Thumb Podcast. Today, we'll be talking about censorship, Stellar Blade, Black Man. Hey, how's it going, Jack? Black Man's boycotted. And Tarkov makes its entire community mad. Let me see if I can turn myself up again. Last week, my audio was too low. Or too high, and now it's way too low. It's just amazing how it changes week to week. So let's get right into it. There was a Stellar Blade is finally out after all the controversy, and now there's a day one patch, and people were quickly to point out this graffiti that we have on screen, where this sort of hard sticker appears multiple times in game. Usually, it'll create assets and sort of fill. You want to fill the wall with something to kind of change it up, break up that boring wall in areas. Give it a little more sort of like it's a lived-in feel. Make it seem more vibrant. It is a post-apocalyptic setting, so they have hard right here. But unfortunately, there's this R shop that is right next to it. This is a Korean game, so they may not have caught what the implication could be. And honestly, I think it's kind of funny, the fact that they didn't. So this ended up being hard R. And if you're not really, you could actually walk past this and not think anything of it, because they're two clearly different signs. But this implicating some sort of a slur, if you're not familiar with what the hard R means. I'm not going to say it online, obviously. I'd get banned for it, but let's head over to IGN. Sony says Stellar Blade art referencing racist language was unintentional, will be patched out. The art will be removed in a day one patch. And of course, it was replaced with a thing that says crime, so it's now the crime R shop. But many people mostly just found it funny. It's kind of a funny clash of cultures sort of thing. Like, where most people and non-English speaking people would never have noticed this, but of course, American in its hypersensitivity does. And some people were kind of disappointed that the hard R shop was removed. It's not a big deal, but there was other things afoot that were a big deal. Of course, here's Jake Steinberg being a little bit cheeky. He says literally some kind of group that you could contract to give a sensitivity read and avoid creating work like this for yourself in the future. Oh, I guess it's Sweet Baby, referencing Sweet Baby here. If only they hired Sweet Baby. Yeah, it definitely would be better. But then, of course, this pointing out the hard R graphic. And then there was a little bit of controversy. The reviews came in, too. So let's see how journalists reacted. Some people were upset at this IGN review, as IGN gave it a 7. Let's see, I think they have their rating further down. 7, good. And people are like, 7's good, guys. Some people not really convinced that 7 is in fact a good rating. Usually with IGN and a lot of games, 6 is like the lowest you'll ever see anything rated most of the time. Unless it's like completely unusable garbage. This game is seemingly well made, so 7 seems a little bit low on the sort of IGN really puffed up scale. It's kind of like the HB scale, where you don't rate anyone under a 4. That's just being mean. With IGN, game reviews usually seem 6 and above is the rating. So 7 does seem fairly low. The verdict, and he kind of sums it up, stands out as gorgeous, well-crafted action game, very impressive strengths and clear weaknesses, Both its story and its character lack substance. Some of the RPG elements are poorly implemented. Dull side quest. Almost everyone has been praising the sort of action that Stellar Blade brings, which bodes well for people. I think the main thing you'll notice on any of the reviews, like this one doesn't seem particularly mean. Just reading, I'm not going to read the whole thing, and doesn't particularly deduct points based on the way Eve looks, but also doesn't add any points on the way Eve looks as well. So they can't. I don't think any reviewer is free to say that, hey, it having a sexy girl in it makes it better, which it clearly does, but you cannot get away with saying that if you're a journalist. So there was a little controversy over the fact that, 7 is good. But is it? Is it really? This next piece is totally unhinged. I'm going to share it with you. It's by Austin Woods. Here's how Austin Wood looks. That way you know the person behind the writing. Stellar Blade puts even some incredibly stupid, sexy outfits that hurt the game's story. But despite the forced sex appeal, I actually love her detailed designs. It's an opinion piece. Sex appeal doesn't have to be a random bikini. Should I read this whole thing? It's kind of funny. Let's see. All right, we got to get through this a little bit. So he's talking about the pre-release. Let's see. Let me start down here. Some people especially want Stellar Blade to be a gallery of shiny heinies. Ugh, this writing. While others are put off by the bizarre masculine chest beating over Eve's design, have dismissed her senselessness towards backward titillation. Having played the whole game, I quite enjoyed it, both despite and sometimes because of Eve's design. I think both extreme miss what's good and bad here. It's fine to make a character sexy for the sake of sexiness, and it's fine to like Stellar Blade regarding its whole debate. I like it. People like to see it and create attractive characters. Don't be ashamed to reduce Stellar Blade's visual identity to the ass game because of some environment really flexed here. And just wait for it. This is paragraphs where it gets pretty good. I don't just want to both sides this into mush. There's been a lot of deserved talk about the male gaze, and the part it played in how Eve looks. As someone with a lot of experience unlearning that same male gaze, this is where it's going off the rails. I have an editor's scaring amount of thoughts on how Stellar Blade fails Eve, why I actually like her core design, and why I expect plenty of people to feel a similarly neutral way once everyone actually plays the game. To explain all this, I'm forced to once again break out my greatest superpower, asexuality. Asexuality is his superpower here. There's nothing quite like people that claim they're asexual lecturing you about sexuality. It's like a transgender person lecturing about what's acceptable sexuality. This article is not okay. This is actually funny. This article is not about me. And then please note how much he uses the word I. It's not about me, but I should explain where I'm coming from. For me, the romantic and asexual attraction are not foreign, but utterly undesirable. So he's not sexual at all. So they're more than your average person. Games like Set bark up the wrong tree when they assume that I, as a man, am eager to can fantasize. Oh my! I can't with this guy. She's hot. No, she's not hot to you. You're just literally saying that you're a man. He's a man that isn't attracted to women or isn't attracted to anybody. He's so ashamed of his own sexuality, which I don't believe men are asexual. I believe he's clearly has some issues with his own sexuality. He's either gay or he's straight, but he's so ashamed of himself that he's decided that he's not going to try. He's like a MGTOW type of thing where it's like, women, I've totally gotten rid of women because I just can't handle it. But this guy is going to go on to talk to you about The problem with Eve is that, I'm not going to go in this whole article, but the problem with Eve is that, her stuff doesn't make sense. Why is she wearing this crazy looking bikini when there are much more sensible stuff? If this gets into the same bikini armor style argument. Like, why is she dressed like that? That's unrealistic. No shit. This entire game's about sex appeal. It's not supposed to make sense. What do you think the selling point of this game was? But Austin, of course. Poor Austin clearly has some issues that he needs to work through. And hopefully he does. Hopefully he does relearn his male gaze and gets laid. But this is the big thing in Stellar Blade that happened over the week that really set people off. So let me set the stage here for you. Stellar Blade here. Uncensored in all countries. This is the official account. Offers the same uncensored versions in all countries, including the Japanese version. So, uncensored, guys. It's uncensored. But, big but coming up. Uh-oh. This is from Wadapacha. Sorry, my English is not good. I want to say, this new bunny for New Game Plus, it's censored too. Sorry, guys. This is cruel reality. I like Stellar Blade so much, but now I feel betrayed. And this is the bunny outfit. Lace over it. Look at the sides. It's been covered up. In the back, actually, I don't know any censorship in the back, but there was original rumors started coming out immediately of censorship in the patch. This is Grum's. What happened here? Here we go. This is Grum's. The director himself addressed it and confirmed it. It was censored. This is him arguing with people, but let's move this over. But you can see right here. If you look at the top, you have the full cleavage on display. On the right, covered up with a little bit of cloth here, and then Holiday Rabbit. You can see by the legs and the hip, and up at top, cleavage covered up, and looks like there's some additional. They didn't even change the actual bikini. They just added a little bit of black cloth right there too. Clearly, some censorship going on, and it was acknowledged by Shift Up. This is from Niche Gamer by Brandon Lytle. Yesterday, fans came forward surprised to see different versions of the Holiday Rabbit costume in Stellar Blade. As a result, accusations of misinformation overtook the discourse. The first signs of Stellar Blade appeared online when users who received physical editions of the game noticed the Holiday Rabbit was different after the game was patched. This was later thought to be a possible hoax after footage of the Day 1 patch showed the censored outfit. What appears to be the case is reviewers who received a digital copy of the game were actually playing the 1.01 patch as opposed to the game as it was shipped. The transitional patch between the original game and the Day 1 1.2 patch appears to be what had been sent, appears to have been what censored the outfits. The information about the uncensored outfit came from individuals who received physical editions early and played the game unpatched, which at the time it was difficult to verify. In the hours since Stellar Blade became a bit more, users have been speaking up about the censorship, have been uploading videos of the uncensored outfit. There are footage of the director allegedly acknowledged the censorship in the latest patch of the game, which he gives a canned response claiming that the censored version is the intended version. But in my opinion, it seems like a very Sony response. There's also something about the level of gore, which some people, I don't have confirmation. Some people said it's based on the performance mode versus the high quality mode. It kind of changes the amount of sort of blood, stains that show up in the game. But I'm mostly just focusing on the censorship of the actual character. That seems to be what people have. And this is from Stellar Blade Reddit. Director answer to the change in the outfit video. Says, is there anything of rolling back the version before censorship? This is him talking. I also want to ask whether you recognize the issue regarding this. He's being asked right now. Understandably, and this is where he says, understandably, we are also recognized about this issue. This is rough translation. However, the final costume is what we wanted to show you. Is indeed the costume in version 1.0012. So this is a lot of detractors are saying this is, see, you just confirmed it. This isn't censorship. He's saying that this is what the director wanted to show you. You should respect. This is our final product. However, I know this answer is not enough to convince our users. Of course. There is an internal discussion ongoing regarding this. So I think we'll have a chance to answer it soon. So this is what he said. And like I said, people are, you got to respect the dev's vision because he said this. But we'll get to that later. Some people had, this is Grums. He came up with an 8-step plan. I'm not 100% sure that this is going to work. Some people are just upset. You know, he's like, reach out to the creator. They want to try and get it uncensored. Many people are not happy about the censorship because set uncensored in all countries, the game itself kind of advertised itself as, you know, sort of unbridled sexuality here with Eve and everything it shows off. Talking about contacting it. This step 3 is I'm search banned on Twitter. This is always the thing that kind of gets me about Grums is step 3, it just involves himself. It's got nothing to do with it. Help give me X and support to reverse it. And there's always like some weird stuff that always like benefits him in it, which kind of, I'm kind of on the fence about Grums. Search for that. It's used, but what he's doing right now is useful. They have like a petition, contact Sony. A lot of people are saying, you know, what, which I think is probably the smartest idea, like don't buy digital, get the physical edition right now, cancel, you know, any sort of like PlayStation Plus, just essentially attack Sony. If you don't buy digital, Sony's not getting their extra cut. You know, they make less money off of it since they have to sell it, you know, and there's the markup for the stores. They want you to sign a petition. I don't think a petition is necessarily going to work. Contact YouTubers, but this was sort of like this idea that we need to do something about it. I don't know if anything's going to be done about it, unfortunately. But there was people arguing, and unfortunately, you know, the Sony shills decided to come out in force. This is Fighting Cowboy. He's got over 1 million subs. I think it's almost like 2 million subs on YouTube. And it's also important to, I guess I don't know what Screenwave Media is. I don't know if he works for them, but actually, let's see, let me take a look at that. But he definitely benefits from he makes review content, not review content, but like guide content. And basically, he benefits greatly from getting early access of the game. He has a review copy, so he gets there's a lot of benefits. So he can make a bunch of guides ahead of time. He doesn't have to worry about immediately getting the game and then start making content from there. He gets a head start above anybody else, or you know, the regular plebs that would possibly just want to, you know, grow their channel. Have to compete with a guy that's already had the game for weeks and already has a bunch of content ready to go day one on its release. The second the embargo stops. So this is what he's saying. It's wild to me that despite good reviews, despite this game being genuinely fun to play, gooners just can't take the W and are having a meltdown over a small piece of lace. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is kind of the attack. Oh, it's just a small piece of clothing. Why are you getting mad about it, guys? And then it's Mighty Keef. This is, again, Fighting Cowboy. Now we have direct confirmation that it was a redesign. Watch the narrative shift from Sony forced him to say that. People love to shout about respecting the dev vision until it isn't something you personally agree with. And then, of course, Mighty Keef back. Now I'm seeing that Sony didn't even change the Tiggled Yetis. It was just the creator having a redesign. Nobody waits for info to they're just reactive. Now, anyone with 2 brain cells can tell that this was not what the developer wanted to wanted to do. I mean, we can look. Oh, let me add in Gan Hunter, a guy that makes a lot of Monster Hunter content. Again, has a lot of subs. I made a graphic to help you understand the Censored Blade X bullshit. It's really dumb. Instead of celebrating a strong and attractive Korean cast and a well-made, stunning action game, this guy is such a fucking wuss. I like his Monster Hunter guides, but everything about him is just so wimpy. It's like, you can't just, like, I made a graphic. Oh, the really stunning, strong, and attractive Korean cast. He's got to, like, mention, oh, it's diverse. It's just reeks of the fact that he hates conflict. He is such a wimp. He likes talking about him and his daughter a lot. You know, like, oh, I'm a dad. I see the notices a lot of people, oh, look, I'm playing with my daughter. I'm a dad, guys. I'm a good guy. Everything about it is pointing this out. Imagine not being happy with its designs, raging despite the game being really well made and fun. They previously had some boo window and higher cut bottoms. They changed it. Must have been Sony's censored misadvertising. Let's petition and harass the devs. Arg. People like this are the problem. Yeah. People like this are the problem, guys. It's people that get mad. Have any sort of expectations on the devs. If you don't accept every little thing, you're the problem. So this is people coming out, and then also a cool thing about the internet is that people with the most specific tastes will find each other and feel empowered by a sense of community, belonging, and collective action. For instance, this Kate Bush is also a loser. For instance, men in their 40s who wank themselves while playing video. Apparently, Danny O'Dwyer here likes to think about men wanking themselves. This is sort of like, again, the usual tactics. Oh, you're a gooner. Whoa, you just porn addict. That usual stuff. But let's look at this. Look at this video here. I mean, this is the sort of animations that they added to the game. Tell me here that they wanted to add. Which version of these outfits do you think they wanted to add to the game? The dev wanted to add to the game. Was it the one on the right or the one on the left or the one on the right? Because personally, I mean, this idea that they didn't want to they didn't want to censor it. It's the dev's vision, like fighting Cowboy. It's again totally shilling for Sony here. I cannot, and the fact that he's part of like Screen Made Media, our YouTube network. What is Screen Made Media? Helps gamers and anime succeed. So he's part of a network. So he's working for a company. I don't know who they work for, but he's part of a group. So group's helping him out. All of it reeks of shilling to me. I mean, one, he definitely benefits from getting review copies. I'm sure Screen Made Media makes sure that he gets review copies. So he wants to say respect the dev's vision. But nobody with half a brain thinks that this is what the devs wanted to do. I mean, one, the original outfits are on the physical disc. So when the game went gold, they put this on the actual disc itself. Costs a lot of money to do so. Two, I mean, if we look at the censored versions, they're clearly lazy. It's just like a piece of cloth, little pieces of lace added onto it afterwards. It's not like they disliked the design of it and dramatically changed it. They just had to put a few things added to it. So that doesn't tell me that they wanted to add this stuff. It's like when they have to add like spats instead of panties to some of these like Grand Blue Fantasy or something like that. It's clearly not something they want to do. They just did the very least possible to make it acceptable. And if you look at the general style of the game and what it was supposed to be, you can clearly tell which version they wanted to show. It's the one on the disc, not the one they patched out. So it's a kind of insulting to his own fans to say that, where is he? Insulting to his own fans to say, yeah, this is the dev's vision. Totally the dev vision, finding Cowboy. We believe it. We definitely believe it. Yeah, this isn't respect. We know what the dev's vision is. Like, apparently works for a company too. So I think he knows. And that's the thing that really annoys me. He knows what's actually going on, but he's totally willing to push this lie out just because it's good for him. Yeah, he wants to make sure things don't get out of hand. He doesn't want to make any sort of stand that might be unpopular with the people he works for and might endanger his own. Well, I mean, I can understand. Hey, look out for yourself. But this is ridiculous. Definitely a shill. Let's. Oh, this is just like this. Look at the physics on this. Yeah, they definitely wanted to cover that up, and it's so weird because like some of the stuff is pretty. I mean, it shows a lot here. Like, why are certain things covered up and certain things aren't? To me, it doesn't make sense. It's so weird how it was censored. And this is Permaband at Give Me Banhammer kind of talking about if you think Sony Formula is just a meme, here's some food for thought. Sony first Japanese dev developing a Japanese game to report to Sony only in English, forced them to adhere only to Western ESRB standards and not Zero. Sony Formula, a turncoat of a Japanese company to a T. This is where they talk about, like, right now, this is, I guess, visual novel Sovereigno Trinity coming to PlayStation hindered by recent Sony regulations. And this is light represented right now. Sony seems to be moving towards disallowing ports of ages 18 and up titles worldwide. And this game is ages 18 and up, so it's being subjected to a very strict inspection. We're getting all these questions. And, like, please write everything in English, which is very odd because it's a Japanese company. So we're in the middle of answering these now, and we're not sure if we'll get approval or not. It's terrible. But in any case, the development is done. So internally, it's complete, but there are things we can't do without connecting to Sony's servers, like trophies, blah, blah, blah. And we have a guy who's in charge of translating everything into English and sending it to Sony, but it's like, don't you guys understand Japanese? At present, we're thinking we can release this game next year. And then this is from the thing. All communications positioned between the game companies and Sony are now filtered through their California brands in English, not just the censorship. Any complaints about the censorship now have to go through the team performing the censorship. Sony has ended the policy allowing publishers to use local ratings, but instead using the full Western standard. In other words, please, instead of allowing Japanese published games used in Japanese and using the Sarah rating, all games on PlayStation must adhere to ESRB. So this is very unfortunate that, a lot of people like the Japanese games because it's Japanese standard, it's Japanese culture. It's something that you don't necessarily get in America. But unfortunately, Sony doing its best to make all of their games westernized. And that, again, this idea that the devs want to do this is completely idiotic. Anyone pushing it does not want to see the truth.